Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now if you watch my channel with any sort of regularity, you will know that I advocate for the use of the written word to help organise your life and just to get your ducks in a row as we continue on our journey to Chap Nirvana. Now by that I mean I keep like a life journal, essentially a diary, which allows me to organise my day, make plans, make goals, set objectives for myself. And very much part of that whole experience is using a pen on paper. I've talked before about the value that I place on actually using a pen to help formulate my ideas and my thoughts in the written word. It's very different to typing things in. There's a different connection within the brain and the hand. And as part of my experience of enjoying that writing journey, I'm always looking to level up the quality of the items that I use in my writing experience. And today I just want to talk to you about the latest items that I've brought into use, which have definitely improved my writing situation. I'm going to talk about a new pen which I'm using, which I've absolutely fallen in love with, and a new notebook which I've also been experiencing and how it measures up against some of the previous notebooks which I've used in the last couple of years. First thing I want to say is give a big thanks to Pure Pens in South Wales, my country of birth, based down in Newport, the capital city of that county, who have in fact provided the pen and the notebook that I'm using today as part of a beginning of a relationship I'm having with that brand. I'm hoping to conduct an interview with the founder and managing director of that company shortly, which I will bring to you, which you will find interesting from an entrepreneurial as well as a pen and paper point of view. So, what pen have I been using? Well, the new pen which I brought into the collection, I'm going to say probably close to 2 months ago now, so I've given it quite an extensive field test, is this Pelican pen. It's a Pelican M200. So when we think of Pelican pens, it's a heritage German brand. It's been around for quite some time, and they have certainly got quite the history. They have been making pens for a good few years. I think they made their first fountain pen in 1929. Based in Hanover, a significant city in Germany, which I visited many times when I had the pleasure of living in Germany myself. And like many German items, you know, when it comes to engineering, Germany is at the very top of the pyramid of quality, and Pelican pens are, you know, certainly within that category. They make a huge range of pens, but we often think of them towards the upper end. So you can buy pens from their collection which are, you know, in excess of £1,000, €1,000 or dollars. You know, they're not cheap because they are of extremely high levels of quality. But the M200 is certainly more towards their approachable price point, certainly for somebody like myself. And this pen costs, I believe, £95 British. So it is definitely at the beginning point of the price scale with Pelican. However, the quality is without fault, in my opinion. So a little bit more about Pelican pens. You know, they have been making these quality pens for quite some time, and their reputation is, well, untouchable really for high-grade writing instruments. So I've been aiming to buy one for quite some time, but I've been struggling to find a price point that I can afford for a quality point that I would like to have in the collection. And I think the M200 gives you a nice compromise there. It's not hideously expensive, however, it exhibits all of the high quality that I'm looking for in a fountain pen. So let me tell you a little something about this M200 fountain pen. So the first thing I can tell you is that visually it's beautiful. What we have here is a brown marble effect which we see on the barrel, the main body of the pen, which the pen is actually made of a resin. So it's rather light, it's easy and nimble in the hand, but the appearance makes it look far more high quality than the price point would suggest. And we see this beautiful marbling in the barrel, which I think is visually striking and certainly makes it stand out amongst the other pens when they're on my desk. We also see that the pen has other of the sort of more standard quality attributes. So the cap is black, but it is, in this case, dressed with golden metal accoutrements. So at the very top we see the emblematic pelican of the name, Pelican, on the finial of the top of the fountain pen's cap, and then we see the clip. Now the clip takes the form of a pelican's bill, so the sort of beak of the creature itself, and it looks very nice. It's perfectly functional, it does its job, but I like the fact that it has a dual sort of meaning. It is actually part of the branding of the product itself. We also see a little bit of gold around the edging of the cap here, which has "Made in Germany" written upon it, indicating to us that we're looking at something of quality. It's a screw cap, so we place the body in, one sort of half a turn, and we have a solid secure fit, which is always very endearing of a fountain pen. The last thing you want is the cap coming off in your pocket and all sorts of mess being created. So when we look at the body of the pen itself, what we see again is that the sort of brown marbling in the barrel of the pen, the top of the pen totally black, and actually it's not just the top of the pen, it is part of the piston suction process which fills this pen. So I'll talk about that in just a moment, but at the moment all you need to know, it's a black top, a little bit of gold sort of dressing again at that end, and the grip of the pen is nice, it's plastic, it fits nicely in the hand, and it allows for quite lengthy extended writing periods with no fatigue at all. I can give you my guarantee on that, because if you've watched any of my videos over the last 2 months, the notes for those videos have been written with this pen. Some of them can go to a few pages, and I really don't get any finger fatigue or hand fatigue when writing. Now, of course, when it comes to a fountain pen, the importance is the nib, and in this case we see a gold-plated nib, and it's one of Pelican's well-regarded high-quality nibs. They come in different sizes: extra fine, fine, medium and broad. I opted for the medium because I like a rather wet and sort of broad stroke, to be honest. And when I initially interacted with Ross, who runs the company, I said to him, I wanted a broad. But this is the beauty of interacting with somebody who has knowledge of the products they're selling. He said I would go for a medium because the nibs run rather wet and they end up being quite broad in nature when you're writing. So if you have a broad, it'll be the same as maybe an extra broad in another brand. He was absolutely right. So I find that the medium writes rather wet and as if it was a broad in another manufacturer's nib production. But it is certainly slick, smooth, and it's been a joy to write with. It's been something of an absolute pleasure. Now, when it comes to the fountain pen, the filling process is also quite important, and this doesn't give you any choices. You can't use cartridges or anything else. This is a piston filler. So basically we place, here's some ink, we place the nib of the pen in the ink, we turn the knob, it draws the piston up, sucks the ink up into the pen. We actually have, which you can't see now because the pen is full, but it has a ink transparent area, so you can see how much ink is in the pen. It has a very large capacity, so when you suck that ink up in there, as you can imagine, the barrel of the pen is much larger than any ink cartridge you will encounter, so you get much more longevity of the writing experience between fillings of the pen. So I would say this has been a really, really good little entry into my pen collection. Again, it is light because of the materials that it's made of, which doesn't in itself make you think it's cheap and cheerful. Actually, it's just the right weight and the right finish on it to give you that impression of quality. And certainly when you're writing and using the pen, as I do, very frequently, every day, several times a day, using the pen to write in my life journal, to write in my works journals, keeping track of what I'm doing, my YouTube, journal as well. I'm writing all the time. This pen has made the writing experience absolutely a pleasure to look forward to. And of course, with the piston filler, less time filling as well, less likelihood of tipping ink over, getting it on your fingers. As little filling of the pen as possible is what I really enjoy. And this one goes a long time between each refill. So all in all, this has been a real pleasure to use. It's become my favorite pen, which with somebody who collects quite a lot of pens, that is something quite to say. but at the price point as well. So at £95, I think it's very approachable and definitely worth thinking about if you are looking for a quality fountain pen that you want to use to boost your writing experience, and perhaps you want to get back into writing, but you don't want to invest a pile of money in one of those big heritage brands which cost a fortune. Maybe this is a good place to start, and you might not find that you need to go any further than that. I've been actually filling the pen with one of the inks from Pure Pens, which they make themselves, a proprietary ink from Pure Pens, and this is called Cwm Idwal, using a Welsh name, and it's a sort of, I would call it an aquatic green, slight hint of blue. Very nice. I've always had a leaning towards your sort of peacock greens and blues, and this one has been really quite enjoyable to use, so I'm very grateful for them for sending that along to me and making my writing experience such an absolute joy. So, to go with the pen, I need something to write in. So I'll just put that lovely Pelican M200 down. And I'm going to talk about the notebook which I've been using just recently. I'm using it as my life journal at the moment. So I'm using it several times a day to record my goals for the day, things I need to achieve. And then the following day, you know, I tick them off. And it just helps me on my life journey, staying in charge of the administration of my life. And for the last few years, a few years ago, I started using Moleskine, so I can talk about comparisons between these. This is the A5 Moleskine hardcover lined notebook. This was my life journal until recently. I use a Leuchtturm A5 journal, which is also, you know, fully filled, this one here, but this is my YouTube journal, which I use for keeping track of the notes for these videos which I undertake. But now, just lately, I've been using this Rhodia notebook, also provided by Pure Pens today, and different nationalities here on the table. So Moleskine we know is of Italian origin, Leuchtturm German, Rhodia French. So a little bit of Europe here on the table today. Now Rhodia, they've got a bit of a history as a manufacturer of stationery type goods since 1880, when they were founded in France, and they get the name because their home base is Lyon in France, and of course the river Rhone runs through Lyon, and people who live in the vicinity of that river are called Rhodanians, I believe. So hence the brand taken by this company is Rhodia, and they've got quite a reputation in the notebook world. People who are familiar with paper and notebooks, Rhodia is not going to come as a surprise to you, because it is often renowned as being of the highest quality paper. And I can testify for that. I can tell you that with quite some certainty, because having been using this for a while, the paper stock is exceptional. So to give you an indication, the Moleskine, I believe it's 70 grams per square meter, all right? 70 GSM, that's the weight of the paper. A sheet of this paper, a meter in size, would weigh 70 grams. The reason that the weight gives an indication of quality is it gives us an indication of the thickness and the way that the pen will be written upon. So 70 grams. Here we have a Leuchtturm. I have to say, my favorite journal at a very reasonable price, but this is 80 GSM, grams per square meter. Rhodia, 90 GSM. So we're going up in multiples of 10 here when it comes to quality. And you certainly feel the quality when you use this notebook. Paper is rich, it's creamy, it's an absolute pleasure to write on. When you're using a quite wet fountain pen, such as my Pelican M200, you want a paper which isn't going to soak through. So the ink isn't going to soak through and ruin the other side of your sheet of paper, because it renders half of the book useless if that's the case. I would say Moleskine, it would struggle, absolutely struggle, with the wetness of a good quality fountain pen like this Pelican. The Leuchtturm, no problem at all at 80 GSM. The 90 GSM, it just makes the paper so much easier to write on, and it's like a slick, easy movement, you know, that continuous cursive handwriting. It just rolls off the pen when you're writing on paper of this quality. This particular notebook has a sort of imitation leather, if you want to call it that, exterior, so it's quite tactile in the hand, and yeah, it's just a really nice quality notebook of A5 size. This I have lined because I like to have lines. I don't like to have, you know, unlined or dots. I like to know where my penmanship is flowing. It's a real classic notebook, really. I mean, hard to say much more about it other than I've really enjoyed it. Some of the things I would say which I would like to see in place, which I definitely have in my Leuchtturm, is, for a start, the pages are not numbered, so they're not paginated. In the Leuchtturm, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through right to the end. And with that, you can then use a contents page at the beginning, which Leuchtturm provides for you, which allows you to keep track of your writing throughout the book. We don't get any of those things with the Rhodia. In the Rhodia, we get one single page marker. In Leuchtturm, we get 2. And we also get a bellows pocket in the back of the Rhodia, which is common to all 3 of the notebooks I'm talking about today. One of the downsides to have thicker stock paper is you're going to have less pages within your book, and that is noticeable. It's not thinner in physical form, but there are less pages for the same amount of paper within the notebook. So if that's important to you, if you're writing over large amounts, be mindful that the thicker paper, the less pages you get. But actually, from a writer's point of view, the paper in this book is by far the best of the 3. It's just so smooth and silky to write on, particularly with a nice quality pen. So it's been a really good experience. What I would say is, I'm still going to defer to my favoured journal, which is the Leuchtturm, but it's been really lovely to try something else. And if you don't need paginated pages or a contents page at the beginning, or maybe 2 page markers, you might prefer the Rhodia if for you the experience is all about the quality of the pen on paper, because this is definitely, from that point of view, the outstanding winner here. So there we go. That was my review today of some of the products which I've brought into my daily activities, which have leveled up my writing experiences. Certainly this Pelican pen is the best pen I've owned to date, and this notebook is the best quality notebook that I've owned, but in practical application, I'm afraid I'm still going to defer to my preferred Leuchtturm. So there we go, just in the field review, a lived experience over a couple of months now. And again, thanks to Pure Pens, hopefully we'll see more of them in future videos when I sort of bring a bit more of them into the material. But I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, subscribe. If you would like to make a comment, tell me what you think about your experiences of any of these products, drop it into the comment section below. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by buying me a coffee, just a one-off thing, or you can become a patron. And I think for £3 a month, you get unlimited access to all of the additional video content which I make weekly, only for the exclusive viewing of my patrons. So, until the next time, enjoy your writing experience. Use pen on paper to make your journey to Chap Nirvana a more efficient thing. And I will see you again very soon.